News Channel 5 Network, this is MorningLine with Nick Barris.
We'll talk about it.
Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us on MorningLine. Nick Barris coming to you on a Thursday. And we have a good show. Oh, when do we have a bad show? Okay, it's a good show on tap for you today. And I'm going to be talking about something that's bugging me. I don't know if it's bugging you, but allergies, okay? It's that time of year. We do this every year. We haul this guest in, you know, and he's so kind to come on and join us to take your phone calls and to talk about the very latest on seasonal allergies. You see the question there, do you suffer from allergies? You know, I want you to call in if you do. And if you don't, I'd like you to call in so I can envy you, because that is the greatest thing. The number is 737-7587. The very latest, what kind of treatments, things out there. A lot of it's stuff you already know, but there may be some things you can learn today that will help you along the way, because if you don't have allergies, I guarantee you, you know someone who does. With us this morning, as I said, he was here last year at this same time, coming to us from over at Vanderbilt, the Allergy, Sinus, and Asthma program there, Dr. Cosby Stone.
Thank you for having me.
It's nice to see you again.
Nice to see you again. Glad to be here.
Yeah, it's that time of year.
Yeah,
that's for sure.
'Tis the season for allergy suffering.
Now, some people suffer from allergies year-round.
You're right.
The reason this is the biggie, again, is obviously the weather's changing, and outside, the pollen's going crazy.
Yeah, if you're a tree pollen allergy sufferer, then this is your time to be miserable.
What percentage of the population would you imagine is allergic to that kind of stuff right now?
To tree pollen? So, you know, dust mite allergies are the most common allergies, and so up to, you know, 20% of the population is allergic to dust mites. But then among those people who are allergic to tree pollen, it's probably about 10 to 15% that might have some sensitization to tree pollen.
Wow, okay, and 10 to 15, I would have thought even higher maybe than that.
Yeah, well, and there's plenty of people who they might not be allergic to it, but the fact that there's so much of it in the air, it's going to irritate the lining of their nose and give them symptoms anyway.
Sure. Do you think, are there people out there truly that do not suffer from allergies, or almost every human is going to have an allergic reaction to something? What do you think?
That's a great question.
Have you ever run into someone that's just not allergic some reason? They've never complained of any of the symptoms anyway.
Well, so the interesting thing is that we used to say that people who grew up on farms were less likely to ever get allergies, and it turns out that science has proved that that's true. Something about lots of exposure to bacteria during the course of your early childhood seems to send your immune system on a trajectory where it's less likely to ever make allergies.
Okay.
Right? So the old farmer who grew up around the cows, you know, was always with the goats, you know, was taking care of the animals, like that guy never really got allergies. About 20% less likely over the course of their whole life. So the fact that all of us are now growing up in cities, and what we're actually being exposed to is, you know, car exhaust, and you know, we're not getting out with the animals. You know, we're not spending a lot of time in nature. You know, it seems like we're becoming a little bit more likely to get allergies because of the way that we live our lives.
So it's a tolerance thing with time?
It's a tolerance, yeah. It's a time and tolerance thing, and it's also the fact that, you know, your immune system is divided into different divisions, and they have different responsibilities. But it turns out that if you have an immune system that is predominantly focused on fighting bacteria and viral infections, then you will be less likely to have an immune system that is nitpicking about allergies that really aren't as important.
Interesting. Well, we know you're busy over there right now.
Yeah, it's the right time to be busy.
It's the right time to be busy on all this. All right, let's get a kind of a thumbnail for our viewers right now, what we're looking at this year. As far as your observations on the pollen as it stands now, how does it compare to last year?
Yeah.
What are we looking at right now? And again, you just hit on what the basic symptoms most of us suffer from.
Yeah, so this year I would say that we have to be a little bit concerned about it, you know, but not maybe as bad as last year, because we had some late freezes. The trees were starting to wake up. They were feeling kind of frisky. They got tricked in February, you know, but then, you know, the cold freezes hit. And so I think that they expended some energy in February that they might otherwise have saved, you know, for pollen season. So it's all about energy and how much time they're awake, you know, how warm and how wet. And so right now I think we're going to be we're heading into the, you know, to the higher points of the tree pollen season. But, you know, they might not have gotten as early of a start this year as they did last year, when they really got started in February and it was warm and wet the whole time.
Okay, so yeah, maybe not as bad as last year. Bottom line, for most people, allergies are an inconvenience and an annoyance, not necessarily something life-threatening. I know folks who do suffer from asthma and things like this, it can be quite serious,
correct?
That's right.
Yeah, so, you know, the life-threatening forms of allergy are obviously food allergy and you know, asthma, you know, related allergy, and allergies to medications. You know, so even though we don't necessarily think of allergies in your nose as being life-threatening, we do know that they come with a lot of major morbidity, you know, problems that people have. Increased sinus infections, increased loss of work, you know, decreased sleep, decreased quality of life. You know, people who really are, there's a lot of economic costs to the patients who have allergies, and there's a lot of economic costs to, you know, to society. So even though we don't necessarily think of them as being something that can cause you to die, we also know that they cause a lot of suffering.
Yeah.
So in particular, the things that we're thinking about, if you're worried about that you've got allergies, the things that you're going to be thinking about are, the itch, all in here. Everything is itching,
itch,
runny nose, itchy eyes, red eyes, postnasal drip. You just feel all congested. You're stepped up. You're coughing. You're clearing your throat all the time. And then for people who have asthma, they're starting to wheeze.
Right. If there's a saving grace, all those symptoms you just described are the same symptoms you would get with a cold. And if giving me a choice, I will take allergies over a cold any day. The problem is, though, as you said, especially with sinus infections, the allergies sometimes can develop into a cold or a sinus infection.
Yeah,
because you just get clogged.
That's right. The big differentiator for us as allergy doctors is, are you itchy?
Yeah.
Because it's that flavor of the immune system, that's responding to allergens that makes itch. Histamine is the big chemical that's released by the allergy immune system, and you don't really get as much histamine released with a virus. So if you are itchy, and if you're just, like everything is in here and it's itchy, and you're just, scratching and clawing, you're more likely to be the one that's allergic.
Okay, and yeah, well, for instance, I don't have the itch as much. It comes and goes. It's itch, but more with me, it's just runny nose. And who knows? Maybe I have a touch of a cold too, but I can usually tell if my throat gets sore, if you get fever or something, and I don't have any of that.
Yeah.
Okay, now what is it about allergies sometimes that I seem to notice come with it? This time of year, it can make you almost sometimes feel a little bit lethargic. You don't have the same energy, and not to the point where I'm sick and in bed, but instead of maybe being able to go and work out at the gym where I'm more gung-ho to give it a shot, I'll just kind of have to drag myself in there because I just don't feel quite like it. Not because I'm sick, but just I don't have the energy. But meanwhile, I had plenty of rest the night before. I've had a decent lunch, so I should have the energy. I had a cup of coffee, and I still am run down. Why does allergies do that?
Absolutely. So the immune system that is designed to, our immune system that fights allergies is actually designed to fight parasites, and so it has a complement of toxic chemicals that were used in the old days when you had a parasite that was the size of a battleship crawling through your tissues, and the idea was that you would blow a hole in the side of that parasite. Well, we don't really have as many parasites that we have to deal with, now with sanitation, and people don't really walk around barefooted. So unfortunately, that portion of the immune system also recognizes allergens.
Okay.
And the chemicals that are released by that immune system, make you feel tired, they make you feel lousy, they make you swell, they make you just, they make your nose swollen. And
so it comes with the territory. When that chemical's released, it just makes you a little more run. So now, if you're taking...
And people don't sleep. They don't sleep well when they have allergies. So everybody's, probably losing about an hour's worth of sleep.
Is that because your nose is clogged?
Your nose is clogged, you're not breathing well. When people don't breathe well when they're asleep, then they don't wake up feeling good.
That's exactly right. And that's part of the problem I have on that. All right, let's go before you take the first break. And we've got the phone lines open, 737-7587, if you have a question or not. But the bottom line is, all right, we'll talk throughout the show about the different levels of treatments for this, okay?
Sure.
So for the average individual like myself, would you just recommend the over-the-counter type treatments?
Yeah, the over-the-counter treatments are very effective. They do a good job in controlling the symptoms. Now, it really depends on what your predominant symptom is. If your predominant symptom is itch, and you need just a little bit of something to dry you up in your nose so that you're not having so much postnasal drip, then your typical over-the-counter cetirizine tablet or fexofenadine tablet, the generic ones are fine. You can get them from any pharmacy.
What would those normally be called?
The brand name, the brand name is Zyrtec and Allegra.
Right, those ones, okay.
Yeah.
All right, Zyrtec, Allegra. And
they're not. Those are the ones that are non-drowsy. People use a lot of diphenhydramine, also known as Benadryl, but that one's going to make you sleepy.
Are the drowsy ones going to be more effective? Just because they
last for a shorter amount of time. I mean, so like you get a faster punch, but then you're you're going to sleep, and I don't think that they're really worth it unless you need a little bit of extra oomph to go to sleep.
Okay, so you would take that at night.
I would take it at night.
Otherwise, and some of them will be a 24-hour cycle. And the other part of it is, does it help if you take them 2, 3, 4 days in a row? Does it kind of build and get your body locked in, as opposed to maybe just taking one, forgetting a couple days, and taking it again?
Yeah, we think of medications that you have to get to what's called a steady state, and if you take it intermittently, you never get to that full steady state treatment dose that's going to actually provide you with the best symptom control. So you have to be taking it for about 3 to 5 days consistently before you are really going to get some benefit. So that's for the people who just have a little bit of symptoms. For people who have their symptoms predominantly that my nose is swollen and I'm miserable and I can't, I can't breathe because everything is just so tight, then you're going to need to be the one who uses the over-the-counter nasal steroid sprays. Yeah, and the trick with those is that when you're putting them, hold them in your opposite hand, put it in your nostril, get it in there, and then aim it out, you know, kind of in this direction, because this is where you're swollen. The swelling is coming from over here and it's heading toward the center of your nose. If you squirt it over here, you know, then you're going to be hitting the target. If you're squirting it straight into your nose, it's going to go down your throat. If you tasted it, you wasted it.
Ah.
You know, and
that's a good, I didn't know the point. So these sinuses here, or is that, what is that over
Yeah,
here?
so the entry to your sinuses are over here, but there's also these tissues called the turbinates. And the turbinates have a very specific function, which is to warm up the air as it goes through your nose. They also grab things that are going through your nose and they filter the air for you, you know, smoke particles, pollutants, you know, dust, whatever. So they get swollen because they're also, you know, filtering all the allergens, and the allergens are landing right there. So if you aim kind of off to the side, you know, over toward, you know, the corner of your eye, the top of your ear, then the nasal sprays will be more effective and you'll have less side effects.
Great. Let's take a break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation with the doctor. We can take a few questions, and I have one for him. You know, I'm a beekeeper. We're going to get into whether or not honey, local honey, can help or not. And, you know, there's different theories on all of that. Bottom line is it does taste good. So we'll take a break. We'll be back. We'll talk about honey, some of the other things, and give us a call if you'd like to join, if you have a question about what you're suffering from, or if you have your own home remedies. I'd love to hear about those. We'll be back right after this.
Trish.